Tay, April 12th, I think we're going to do the Shia LaBeouf route and just do it! Because we've got the Destiny April update, and we've also got Division Incursion mode.
Yeah, there's just updates on updates. We weren't sure if they're actually going to be on the same day, but it turns out it's going to be rough for both of us, and we're going to have to find time to do both.
Let's talk about Incursion mode, and we learned some of the new details about how this is going to work. This is the free endgame content for the Division.
So in this mission, you're going to fight against the Last Man Battalion, and you're going to be at a water treatment plant, which is probably huge right now because, you know, it's New York. It's contamination everywhere. You need water, right? Also, I guess the big thing for them, too, is that, you know, there is two modes to this. There's a hard mode and a challenging mode to the Incursions. And it seems like for hard mode, if you're decently geared, they say you need eye level 31 stuff, but I don't know if that's true. Whereas the challenging mode has a required gear score, so if you don't even meet that, you can't even matchmake for that.
I think the big question in my mind right now is you're more of a hardcore player. I think I'm more of a casual player. How did you feel about what was shown today?
It's really hard to say. I think they showed very little gameplay. It did look like the area was a lot bigger than most of the stuff you encounter now through the missions and the challenge modes, which is interesting. They also made it a bigger point to say, you know, you're actually going to have to try to, you know, spread your talents around and build different, like have different builds, which is cool because right now a lot of people are just going like pure DPS, or maybe there's one person doing support or something like that. But it sounds like you need a more well-balanced team, which would be interesting if that's the case.
So the loot hook for Incursion, it seems like right now is the 4 armor sets that you can earn through different methods.
Yeah, so the new thing that's coming in, or you're gonna get green tier stuff now with your armors, and it seems like there's a set bonus that you want to hit, which is 4 pieces, which will give you this like amazing talent or something that they didn't discuss. So it's hard to say what that's going to be. But like you said, there's going to be a trade-off because with the set pieces, you don't actually get a specific talent like you would on a high-end piece of gear. So you have to weigh, okay, is my high-end piece of gear better than the set armor, or do I have enough set pieces to get these different bonuses, of which, again, we didn't get to see yet, but it's very Diablo-like. So, you know, there's probably one at 2, and then the major talent thing at 4, and then there's probably one at 6.
Question, are you going to be making an alternate character? Because it seemed like that's some of the things you can earn. You only get 1 crack at a week unless you have an alternate character.
Yeah, so I think the weekly is tied kind of to the Incursion, almost like a Nightfall, so to speak, which is interesting too because there is no checkpoints in the Incursions, which is like a Nightfall or the old style of Nightfall. But yeah, so if you wanted to, right now you can make up to 4 characters, and if you're hardcore enough, and you could run the weekly 4 times because the weekly, which I think is tied to the Incursion, gives you whatever guaranteed loot that you're supposed to get, like the missions, and then it gives you a little bit more. So there's more incentive to do the weekly, obviously, if you can. And again, if you want to make 4 characters, you can do that. You can cycle and siphon your gear around, so I guess it's not that bad, but you'd have to make 4 30s, right?
What I found interesting was when they started talking about supply drops. Now, it's funny because H1Z1 totally tried this, and it worked to various levels. This is where a crate of high-level gear falls out of the sky in a PvP area, and players are encouraged to fight each other over it. The part that I like about it is I think a lot of players in the Dark Zone don't feel comfortable engaging other players. Like, some people are crafty and they'll screw other players for their loot, but you're never quite sure. You're never allowed to give yourself full permission to fight other players. Whereas it seems like when one of these loot drops comes out of the sky, it's like, okay, now we're going to fight. Everybody, we all understand this, and go. And I think it's kind of a relief for some of the casual players that, like, yeah, now I know that it's time to fight other players.
I mean, so the interesting thing with the supply drops is it's not only just other players you're fighting over it for, there are enemy AI, it seems like, that are supposed to be pretty tough. And also, the interesting thing too is like it's like a first come first serve type mechanic, because I guess whoever gets there first and I guess maybe clears it out. I'm not sure how the mechanism works because they didn't really show it, they just talked about it. But whoever's there gets it first, and apparently this gear is not contaminated. So like once you get it, it's yours, you can't get killed for it. So I'm not really sure how that's gonna work.
Got any interest in trading, Tay?
Yeah, I think the trading mechanic is good because it's like very, very similar to Diablo 3, where, you know, when you're grouped up, you can actually drop an item, and when you drop that item, someone in your group can pick it up within a limited amount of time. It's a 2-hour window where you can trade with each other by dropping the item. So I think it's nice because, you know, maybe you're running a specific spec or a specific build that a piece of gear that I get might really cater to you, but doesn't cater to me. And I think it just gets you to do group play more too, because then it's like, okay, well, just because I don't get something, maybe my buddy gets something that he's like, oh yeah, this is really good for your build, you should take this, and then you can do that. And I think trading's really good for the game, and I kind of wish Destiny had it.
All right, Tay, so time for blunt opinions. Incursion mode, do you like it, or are you sort of meh about it?
I think that I like the concept of it, and I think I like the direction they're heading into. But again, since we haven't played it and since we saw very little of it, it's very hard for me to be like, oh yeah, I'm all in. I think that I'm excited to play it because I want to see something different than what we've already experienced in the Division. I don't know how different this is going to be, but you know me, I'm all about the loot. So the fact that you're adding set armors in and creating this like new talent or something that only the armors will give you is like a very interesting concept to me. And because of that, I am very interested in the incursions and the set armors and whatnot.
As a casual player, it's just going to come down to really whether the incursions are balanced for me to matchmake into them like on a weekly basis, and whether I can earn this armor at like a slower pace.
Yeah, hopefully the incursions add some elements that interest you like outside of just what they're been doing, and it sounds like they're starting to test stuff and they have more incursions that we don't know about, so definitely interested to see. April 12th is going to be a cluster F of shooter day, but I think we'll just have to get our coffees ready, Aaron, and thank you for the conversation.
Yeah, and we'll see you all on April 12th.